Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining. My name is Nadia. I'm the head of climate of Emirates Nature WWF. I'm super glad that you're here today. We'll be taking you through today the UAE Alliance for Climate Action, the latest alliance launched by Emirates Nature WWF and made possible by HSBC, our first founding donor. So let's jump right in. For those of you who don't know about Emirates Nature WWF, we are a local non-governmental organization. We've been in the UAE since 2001, so over 20 years. We really focus on environmental conservation in line with marine biodiversity, habitat protection, as well as climate change and circular economy. We support organizations on the ground in their sustainability agenda and delivering impact at scale for the UAE in association with WWF. The World Wildlife Fund for Nature is a powerful conservation NGO, and we align very much to their portfolio of work in terms of climate, food, biodiversity, business, and energy. And we're really leading on the forefront of environmental civil society. And so today we'd like to talk a little bit about the decarbonization context. And so when we were looking at identifying our role as an organization like Emirates Nature WWF as an NGO, how is it that we work on decarbonization across different stakeholders? So when we were looking at scoping this project out, we looked at the global context, and we recognized that there was a lot of actions that were being implemented to make sure that net zero traction was being done in a way that's aligned with the Paris Agreement. So we're talking about making sure that we are limiting warming to 1.5 degrees maximum. And so when we were looking at what is happening at the global scale, we were recognizing that not all net zero commitments are made the same. They don't all necessarily conform to the same boundaries, to the same scopes, to the same timelines. And that there was a lot of momentum on trying to ring fence and try to identify what best practices were to make sure that net zero targets were delivering on the Paris Agreement and were delivering on 1.5. So we saw that the SPTI launched that they strengthened their entry criteria. They also launched the net zero standard to make sure that organizations knew how to set credible net zero targets. The UN also set up a council, the high-level expert group, to be able to monitor net zero targets and provide recommendations on how to improve them, et cetera. And so we know that in order to be able to achieve the 1.5 that we're all working so hard towards, we need to make sure that net zero targets are set in a way that's credible, verifiable, transparent, and actually do deliver on the science that we know that needs to be done. And so when we were looking at the UAE context, we see that there's amazing momentum happening in the UAE, but it's still a new topic. You know, the UAE has set their net zero target as of end of last year, which is excellent news. And during COP27, they have announced what their targets are. Also, the ministry is working on the climate responsible pledge to increase the amount of companies that are setting net zero targets. They've increased their NDCs, and we see a growing number of organizations moving towards setting net zero targets and acting on them. So all of this is excellent news. And for us, what we wanted to make sure is that we're seeing this momentum being driven in a way that leads to 1.5 degrees and the contribution of the UAE's economy contributing to 1.5 degrees. And so given all of this, and through many stakeholder consultations, and after having experienced what we had delivered on as a project called Target Climate, which worked with organizations on setting their greenhouse gas inventories, setting an energy efficiency targets and renewable energy targets, we took all of these learnings, all of this feedback from stakeholder consultations, and decided to launch what we're calling the UAE Alliance for Climate Action. We're also calling it UACA for short, UACA. And essentially, this is set to be the flagship project in the lead up to COP28, but very much after COP28 for some time, to make sure that we're creating an alliance of stakeholders that are coming together to collaborate, increase momentum on science-based or Paris-aligned targets and implementation to see greater and more rapid implementation of decarbonization in the UAE, but also to come together and collaborate on delivering on the Paris Agreement and finding synergies and ways to do that in creative ways. And so this UAE Alliance for Climate Action, or UACA, has two key pillars. And so pillar one is the climate action portion, where we really want to see non-state actors or sub-national actors increase their readiness to set targets and implement them for rapid decarbonization in the near term and in the long term. When we say non-state actors, we mean anybody that sits at the sub-national level or sub-federal level. So it could be emirate-level entities, private sector, financial institutions, universities, civil society, associations, you name it. Anybody who sits at the sub-federal level or the sub-national level. And what we mean by near-term and long-term targets is increasing the readiness of these non-state actors to be able to set 2030 targets that are in line with science and 2050 targets that are in line with science. This is to do with the fact that we know that 2050 targets are extremely important, but in order to make sure that we get there, we need 2030 targets that are strong and in line with science. Pillar 2 of the alliance will be collaborative action. So really activating the Marrakesh Partnership, which I'll take you through in a little bit, to gather stakeholders together and really figure out what is an enabling environment that promotes rapid decarbonization in the UAE. How can we work together to make sure that that exists? And how can we improve and innovate together? And so the mission of this alliance, or UACA, is really making sure that we're contributing to this decarbonization ambition loop. And how we see it is that if we see signals to stakeholders to increase ambition, and stakeholders and non-stakeholder actors are increasing the momentum from a bottom-up approach, we see that surge coming up from non-state actors, it allows the government to also further increase their ambition because they have more confidence that there is momentum happening from a bottom perspective or a bottom-up approach. And so that bottom-up approach can contribute to increasing the country's NDC, which also provides another signal to stakeholders that more needs to be done, which then gives more confidence for the NDC to be strengthened. So this is how we want to contribute to this continuous decarbonization ambition loop. Additionally, if we can come up together and address any policy barriers or any policy opportunities, that can also give a further signals to others to join in the race. And that will really further enable ambition, but also implementation and accountability. And this is how we feel UACA, or the Alliance, will contribute to that mission of increasing rapid decarbonization in line with science in the near and long term. We modeled this alliance actually after the Alliances for Climate Action, or the UACAs, which exist at the global level, and they are led by a consortium of institutions and NGOs and civil society, such as WWF, CDP, C40 Cities, Women Business Coalition, and many more, that are activating this bottom-up approach of non-state actors to be able to demonstrate that surge at the bottom approach to decarbonization in their own countries. UACA is now officially the 10th ACA, or ACA. We hope to see many, many more ACAs come to light, but essentially we'll also be working as a part of this alliance or this network of alliances to be able to collaborate on making sure that developing and developed countries are contributing towards the Paris Agreement. We're really lucky because the ACAs are being spearheaded by Gonzalo Munoz, who's the COP25 high-level champion, very much dedicated to this alliance, as well as the climate and energy practice leader of WWF, Manuel Pulgar Vidal, who also has been a COP20 president, as well as the Minister of Climate Change and Environment. And so we're really excited to participate and being in part of this network and modeling our network after the lessons learned of this powerful network of alliances. Furthermore, the UACA is going to be a delivery agent of the Marrakesh Partnership for Global Climate Action. Now, the Marrakesh Partnership and the improved agenda, which you see here, is essentially the agenda of the COP high-level champions. And this is the agenda for implementation of non-state actor participation in the UNFCCC process, which is not a process that is typically engaged on at the non-state actor level, since we know that this is really where the national governments come in and negotiate, but essentially is activating and broadening and deepening the engagement for non-state actors to participate in the decarbonization objectives that we're all trying to achieve under the Paris Agreement. And what you'll see here is that strengthening ACAs, Alliances for Climate Action, features very prominently in the broadening and deepening engagement globally while focusing on developing country stakeholders. So this is good news. That means that we have alignment to a global agenda, but are very much a domestic agenda as well in terms of implementation and impact. So we're feeding into an international ambition and an international agenda, as well as delivering on a domestic agenda. So we'll dive a little bit deeper now into what is UACA aiming to do. UACA, like I said, is going to be an alliance of stakeholders, so members are free to join, and members together will do one or two of two things, is, like I said, climate action and collaborative action. So under climate action, we're really going to be focusing on building capacity and providing technical assistance through webinars, workshops, etc. We are excited because we have a thought partner and a knowledge partner on board to help with the technical assistance, provide members that are joining the opportunity to ask questions and get technical feedback to their questions and some of the issues that they're facing internally. We also are going to be producing what we call knowledge products, which is essentially pushing out surveys to test hypotheses of where the country sits in terms of non-state actor participation in decarbonization, promoting case studies for increased learning, white papers, policy papers, reports, playbooks, etc. Essentially, anything our members need is where we're going to really be listening on the ground to what members are looking for, what is missing, and how we can fill those gaps to make sure that we can share as much knowledge in order for organizations and non-state actors to increase their readiness to be setting science-based or Paris-aligned targets, as well as implementing them. And lastly, providing visibility, giving some carrots, saying good job for having done what you've done. It is a difficult journey. We're doing this together. And so using those milestones in the year of events, opportunities to talk about the progress of our members, the progress of the Alliance, or collective learnings that we've had, and providing visibility not only to members, but actions that we've done, knowledge products that we've completed and delivered on, or any other learnings that are relevant to be shared with the public sphere. The activities under the second pillar, the collaborative action piece, is increasing information exchange. So really demonstrating who's doing what in the country, who's advancing on net zero, in what capacity, et cetera. But also connecting members to each other to be able to share information, and also being a platform and a convener for information sharing between federal government and the member base. Secondly, we really want to engage policymakers through our policy white papers, discuss some of the opportunities, the innovations that can happen, and really see how we can support those take place. And thirdly is high-level champion engagement. So we really want to be able to address the technical level of organizations and building their capacity, but also engaging the senior and strategic leaders of the organizations and non-state actors with the strategic leaders of the country to be able to connect the dots and make sure that we're getting not only a bottom-up approach in organizations, but also that we're getting that strategic leadership so that where there is a kind of top-down approach within each organization and buy-in, because we know that that's how most activations in decarbonization and sustainability in general tend to bear the most fruit. In order to become a member for UACA, and on the desired spirit of the Alliance, we've modeled a lot of the entry criteria based on the ACAs, the Alliances for Climate Action, how to participate. So there are two elements of the commitment letter that need to be agreed to, which are the UACA principles and the member journey. The Alliance principles are here on the screen, and they're all about agreeing to credibility, transparency, the collaborative nature of the Alliance, being progressive and ambitious, and being member-driven. And so each of these principles are things that we take to heart, and we want to make sure that we instill in the Alliance as we go forward across all members and partners and donors. And I think really the last one, just to clarify, member-driven, for us, it's really important that we iterate this Alliance, that we make sure that this Alliance is delivering on the needs of members and that we're listening to what is needed. And so a lot of the times it's going to be about listening, what we can do together, how we can be a force for convening, but also delivering on actions and activities that make sense for members based on the topics or the issues or barriers that they're facing in order to overcome them together. But also in terms of progressiveness and ambitiousness, we are looking for organizations to join this Alliance with the intention of increasing their own ambition. So we welcome members to join at any stage of their decarbonization journey, whether they've been planning for this for the last 10 years or whether they've just thought about it yesterday. This is an open platform for anybody to join, but we expect members to join with the intention of increasing their ambitiousness on decarbonization, on setting targets, and on implementing their targets and being transparent. Collaborative nature, this is a given. We're expecting members to come in, share as much information as they can in a pre-competitive space, not being forced to share any information that's confidential, but to really collaborate with other members, knowledge share, and really try to benefit each other from being a part of this Alliance. Transparency is key, not only in target setting and implementation, but between each other and members, and being credible so that whatever we're pushing out, we're pushing for credibility, transparency, and verifiability of targets, but also engagement with each other. This is the first portion of what we're expecting organizations and non-state actors to agree to be part of UACA. The second portion is, again, like I said, the member journey, accepting that anywhere you are in your decarbonization journey is perfectly fine, but that within these recommended timeframes, that these organizations and non-state actors are moving upwards slowly towards increasing their ambition. So what you'll see here and this is something that we can share with you as well, and it's part of the commitment letter that needs to be signed by the head of the organization, is that we're really, at the alliance member stage, we're really asking just to agree to participating in dialogue, information sharing, learning, and committing to raising the bar on your decarbonization journey. And as you go through the journey here from Alliance member to Alliance Achiever to Alliance Leader and Leader Plus, we're essentially asking you to be more transparent on when you're going to set your target, how far along are you in setting your target, announcing a time frame to set your target, as well as advocating for climate aligned policies internally, and all the way up to Alliance Leader Plus, where you've actually publicly released your verifiable and credible 2030 and 2050 target, as well as identifying ways to embed nature into your net zero plans. And so this is part of the commitment letter that'll be shared. And essentially, we're asking organizations to make sure that they're progressing in their ambition and moving down towards a more ambitious level of the member journey as a part of UACA. So how we work is that we work collaboratively, stakeholders to convene and really act on the science and bringing solutions or recommendations to the forefront of implementation. And like I said, very much in line with what members need and what we're hearing on the ground. So we're really excited to be, like I said, the first MENA-based or Middle East-based Alliance for Climate Action, and contributing also to the global network of alliances for climate action and working with their global coordination unit to see how we can strengthen our alliance. We're also really grateful to our first founding donor, HSBC, who's made this project possible to be implemented. We're also really pleased to be endorsed and supported by the Ministry of Climate Change, and also very excited to be supporting their climate action or climate responsible pledge and allowing climate responsible companies who have signed the Ministry of Climate Change and Environment's pledge to also join in this alliance to be part of the implementation portion of how they're going to set their net zero targets. We're also working with partner organizations that are like-minded, like civil society organizations, like the Clean Energy Business Council, to collaborate and find ways to promote net zero implementation and provide knowledge sharing and policy engagement in line with both organizations' directives and visions. We're also very excited to have a knowledge partner, BCG, the Boston Consulting Group, on board to also be able to offer services to our members on a pro bono basis and support them through their decarbonization journey. And we're very excited because during COP27, we were able to convene our initial member signatories, which you can see here are Unilever Gulf, El Circal Group, HSBC MENA, Apparel Group, Siraj Power, and Talabat, as initial signatories to UACA, and hoping that this really opens the door for more members to join and more members to participate in this alliance to make sure that we're all working towards the same objective of rapid decarbonization by 2030 and 2050. We also have many plans for engagement and opportunities to share any of our case studies and playbooks and reports or member success. We have just launched recently at COP27 in Egypt, where we launched with a high-level panel and announced our founding donors, technical and knowledge partners, and our partner organizations with our initial signatories, which we just spoke about. It was very exciting to see this high-level panel, which had delegates from the Ministry of Climate Change and Environment of the UAE, as well as high-level delegates like Manuel Pulgar Vidal and Gonzalo Munoz, as well as HSBC, participating in discussing the importance of these alliances at the domestic level and the role of UACA specifically in the UAE. But then we're also going to be engaging at these high-level events that happen in the UAE domestically to be able to share some of the lessons that we've learned, share the successes, and also demonstrate how we're going to be leading up to COP and launching at COP new projects, new member targets, and a lot of progress. This is some details on how we did launch in COP27, which was very exciting for us. It's the first time we've launched such an alliance as Emirates Nature WWF in a COP. These are some of the pictures of the event and the high-level panel. And so I guess the question then becomes, for those that are listening, how can you get involved? So there's two ways in which you can get involved as of today. Of course, we're looking for members to join, and we'd be pleased for members to join any UAE organization, non-state actor, or subnational actor. We welcome to join this alliance as a member, and welcome to sign the UAE Alliance for Climate Action commitment letter, which you can find on our website. We're also looking for donors to cover the cost of this project and contribute to ensuring that this alliance has high quality outcomes and activities. And we can share more information on joining as a donor if you email us at UACA@EmiratesNature or enwwf.ae as per the screen. Joining as a member is absolutely free. And those who want to join as donors can do so also if they are members. And we encourage all organizations to consider joining on a donor basis if it's possible for them. And we can take that forward as a bilateral discussion. Anybody interested in joining as a member can sign the commitment letter from the head of the organization, which includes the UACA principles and the UACA member journey. Send that across to us by email, and then start participating in the UAE Alliance for Climate Action. I want to thank you very much. If there's any questions, feel free to email us on the email that you can see here. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. We hope this webinar was helpful for you. And please let us know if you have any questions. And we hope to see you as a member in the lead up to COP28 and post COP28 in making sure that we deliver on our objectives to limit warming to 1.5 degrees. Thank you.